there's this video that came out a few days ago. As I mentioned in headlines, Naftali Bennett and the Israeli government are expanding their settlements in the occupied West Bank. Reiterate, it is illegal under international law. It is a violation of the borders. It is a violation of their agreements that have been violated over and over again. These are condemned by the United Nations. The Biden administration has publicly expressed discontent with this decision, but it's a slap on the wrist. Not even, it's like a wet willy. It's barely anything, and they'll allow the Israeli government to do whatever they want and commit cultural genocide and commit apartheid and expand their modern day settler colonialism in a way that hurts people, including this woman who is seen here being forcibly removed by an Israeli occupation officer, as I believe they are attempting to construct in that area. Is that correct, Bradley? Yeah. Yes. She's clutching the gravestone of her son. Watch this. Oh my God. So she's weeping, and you see Israeli occupation officers grabbing her fingers one by one to pry her off of her son's grave.
Just a note on the sound here in the background is a caterpillar. A caterpillar is a long-standing supplier of Israeli army and provides it with a variety of heavy engineering machinery, including different wheel loaders, armored excavators, mini loaders, and several models. This is why like BDS is important. Yes.
It's a great point. And I mean, that's why I'm proud to work at this show. We made that a commitment in terms of our advertisers as well. And I try to abide by that in every way I consciously can with BDS. There was a point, and I couldn't tell if that was a photographer who was laughing, but last week or the week before, we had an author on to talk about Standing Rock, and LaDonna Brable Allard of Sacred Stone. Part of her activism in regards to DAPL was the fact that it was about to run by her son's grave on their land. And that is it's not symmetrical, but that is an eerie theme here, because both of these instances are instances of settler colonialism and cultural genocide. What we've done to indigenous people in this country should be seen through the same lens as what we're doing, or what Israel is doing, and what we are doing by funding Israel.
It's ethnic cleansing.
In Palestine. It's ethnic cleansing. And so there is a systematic attempt to wipe out the history, the agency, the ability of certain people to live in peace. 90% of the occupied territory don't have clean water. Israel is bombing COVID testing facilities, not providing Palestinians with the same opportunity to get life-saving coronavirus vaccines, and they are ripping mothers off of graves so that they can build some more homes.
But yeah, ISIS destroying old monuments and stuff like that. That's great for propaganda value, and we will put that all over the major cable networks and be like, how can this be done to history? Meanwhile, you look at what the Iraq War, for instance, did to that sort of history, and
I think that was a similar figure that after, I think
Iraq was worse.
In the Gulf War, the amount of like sewage and disease in the water, it dropped life expectancy by years. Yeah. It's just precipitous. An uptick in diseases that Iraq had thought that they had eradicated, and it's very similar in Palestine. So I mean, again, this has been like the biggest bummer of a show, and I understand, like, we're talking about Build Back Better being a shell of itself, and the Democratic Party being unable to deliver anything substantive.
Well,
for
there's
the American
a useful
people,
through line with Bennett and Netanyahu, is same with Trump and Biden, right?
Yeah. Although, I mean, Bennett, I almost ran to the right of Netanyahu. It's like impossible to tell in Israel, where there's no there's no substantive left that's able to wield any power. It's just like who's more right wing and
just
nationalist.
Optics too, right?
Yeah.
Like who's more acceptable to the
Netanyahu had to go
bourgeois.
because he became the figurehead of it. But this is a systemic problem in Israeli politics, and I don't. The only thing that's going to make things change is if they're hurt economically, as if the fancy clubs in Tel Aviv aren't able to get the vodka that they want, and if the United States actually grows a pair and stops funding this atrocity on a daily basis.